There, we're back live. We'll try a bit of a debate after show here. See what happens. Got to have the damn wife turn off the AC. Just wait a second. We'll let the chat fill up here since nobody knew I was doing an after show. It's like the big downside with doing StreamYard is if you're doing like these bizarre dual streams, right? If you're doing these bizarre ass dual streams, on this end, I can stream to the audience, but if they kill the stream on their end, I can't keep going. So I think in the future, I'll probably use OBS. That way I can just keep on going from there. You know what I mean? That way I can just keep on going from there. Anyway, how is everybody this fine evening? We'll just do a bit of an after show. The way I feel like we can get to all the Q&A, questions, answers, all that fucking shit. You know what I mean? Jason Scholl, I see you in the chat. We had some dono chats I couldn't read either. We'll see if those guys come back into chat here. Christopher Shame, nice to see you too. How are you, man? The Ibel bot is running. Fucking Ibel. What, insanity? Yeah. Well, it is insanity. Ernest Harris, how you doing, man? Nice to see you here too. Just going to kind of let the chat fill up here for a few minutes, and then I'll kind of go into my closing thoughts about a lot of this stuff. Awesome debate. Congratulations on the W, Andrew. Well, it was good content. It's too bad they ended up, and I knew that was going to happen too. They ended the debate. I had to actually eliminate it from YouTube because I knew that the whole getting into the election thing was the purpose of that was to sabotage the debate. It's to sabotage it so that I'd have to take it off the channel. You know what I mean? That's why I didn't want to get into it, because I knew it was fucking sabotage. But it's like, at that point, I'm at the mercy of the host. You know what I mean? But it cost me content for no good reason. Andrew, how are you celebrating S month? Well, it might be surprising to you, Richie, but I'm not fucking celebrating it because it's pretty disgusting. Yeah, it is sneaky. It's fucking sneaky. But that's the way it always goes, right? They always try to sabotage near the end. You'll see it in other ways too. That one was just pronounced. That's why I'm like, Alex doesn't know. Like, he has no idea. Like, he has no fucking idea that you really can't talk about that stuff on YouTube, because they never have talked about that stuff on his channel. And I'll even tell him, like, you should take that VOD down actually and put it elsewhere. He's not going to listen. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's always a point of sabotage, basically. Always. Grace is probably bobbing Ben's knob as we speak. Well, that's the thing. It's funny. It's like, she had this kind of really good, she had this really good engagement with this crazy chick who was obviously lying about her experience over on her channel. Grace did. But what's fucked up about it, what's funny about it, is like I saw it and thought, man, there might be some redemption here, right? It seems like she's really trying to push on the moral side of things. But then suddenly, it's just right back to the fucking, I just want clout. I just want to fucking bet, I just can't. There's only so much of that shit I can take. Let me sneak my dad on, or anything I can do to still enter into trolling. You know what I mean? Which is too bad. Huge bad. Too bad. Rest of Stream says, huge fan here, Andrew. Love from Iran. Yeah, I appreciate that very much. You probably wouldn't like me too much, though, because I'm very, very much against the Islamic religion. So probably ends the fandom pretty quick. What's with her dad seems creepy as fuck. Yeah, that's the kind of the general consensus with the Thorpes, is that, yeah, another Thorpe. It's always the same shit. And then near the end, when the progressive brings up the election, I know why they're doing that. They only do that because they want the VOD to get hit. That's the only reason they do it. Like Nina said multiple times, she knows we can't talk about that on YouTube, but demanded that we talk about it anyway. That fucking pissed me off. You know what I mean? Basically playing on Alex's ignorance to that particular topic. Andrew, next time do an 18 years old warning, since what I watched was like a Saw movie. It was a slaughter on your part. It's not much. The thing is it's not like a huge W. It's just a lot of these people are really fucking stupid. They've never really thought their worldviews out, and it's very embarrassing for them. And I understand that. I get that. I'm not trying to actually be mean to them. You know, I'm trying to bring them over to our side, as many of them as I can. So HTRK says, Andrew, that was messy as fuck. Well, I think that the way that the panel went was supposed to be messy. I think that that's kind of the push Alex is going to for content, right? Is he wants it kind of messy. So would you ever go on some of the relationship shows like whatever and Fresh and Fit? Yeah, I would. Happily. They probably wouldn't enjoy the points either. It's been actually stunning to me that I have not yet in any of the debates on feminism that I've actually had to make an argument yet. I have great arguments against feminism, but I've never one time yet really had to make a single argument against it because we can't get past the descriptive is statement. You know, we haven't been able to get past that. Are We Not Men says, when's the super show? Tomorrow night we have a first in the new series that we're launching on the Crucible. Trash Talk Extravaganza is only going to be once a month, and that'll be an 8 to 10 hour show every time we do it. And it takes a long time to prep for. But what we'll be doing in the interim is what used to be kind of the old Trash Talk Extravaganza format. Except we're going to be calling it the Inquisition Presents, and that I'll be highlighting and focusing on one particular person, or maybe two. You know what I mean? Maybe two. Tomorrow, yeah, tomorrow there will be an Inquisition. That's correct. So, is the arena coming back? I don't think the arena is coming back. Though Rob Norris, I'm fine with him doing it on the channel. I'm not sure that it'll actually come back. Andrew, you sound like you're always doing a Christian Slater impression. So I've had all kinds of equations to how I sound and look. It's either French Stewart from Third Rock from the Sun, you know what I mean? Because of that, because of the squint, which it's just how I look, right? Or the alternative to that is the the Christian Slater thing. I get that a lot. I always get all that different kind of shit. People always equate what they see online with whatever's famous and out there. So Grace is disgusting. Well, she's just dumb, you know. My membership's on the other channel. What happened to it? I'm out of the loop. The other channel's still there. Just waiting for the strikes to fall off before I start streaming there again. So it'll be another few weeks. Moldy Apple says, I have a Wesley Snipes look. That's funny. Why not have debates with women who aren't entirely stupid, says Lady. Well, I do often. So there is a critique that actually doesn't have any merit. So the thing is that I'll debate with basically anybody who has a conflict with my worldview. I don't care who they are. It's not bothersome to me. But Alex PWF often will invite me to his channel and he sets those debates up. I'm not setting them up. Same thing with Modern Day Debate. People will go, man, you're on Modern Day Debate and you'll crush kind of these fucking losers or this or that. I'm like, I didn't set the fucking debate up, dude. You know, I'm not setting those up. I set up debates with good people on my own channel who I think are smart, have good opinions. Like I got President Sunday coming up next week. We'll be debating. We got a bunch of shit coming up that's going to be awesome. So it's not like I go out of my way to just find like the dumbest fucking human beings on planet Earth. I get invited to various shows and I go on them. So I sent Blown a penny for his thoughts, calling him gay over a month ago. He read it on stream. Operation 66 is a go. I'm doing my part. Congratulations. I'm glad you're doing your part. We need more of you out there doing your part. It's necessary. Necessary. Yeah, I mean, you think that Like, I don't care. The content's always going to be a mix. It's going to be like sometimes it's just going to be people who seemingly are too stupid to breathe, and other times it might be Destiny and Vosh and this type of thing. It all just depends on who wants to tangle about which thing. But whenever people, invite me to their podcast, I'm kind of at the mercy of who it is that they want me to debate. I can turn them down, but I've never really done that. I don't mind engaging with people who want to engage. Try to get on a Pearl panel. I could if I want to. I mean, my wife is often on her show. They talk quite a bit, but I don't know. I'm very cautious on the orbiting thing. I don't do the orbiting thing. I'd rather that the Crucible stand out on its own with its own debates. I think we put on the best debates on the internet. So I think we'll stick with kind of doing that and allowing pretty much everybody to come on and have a voice who wants to debate, even though sometimes it's not riveting content. You know what I mean? I think it has extreme value to a lot of people. I get emails from people all over the world essentially saying, look, it's great that we're allowed to have a platform with kind of this large intake audience and this and that. And you'll kind of just let other people who aren't famous in the space come on and duke it out. So is the main channel back tomorrow? I think, let me check. Let's see when the main channel comes back here. No, it's going to be like 12 days, about 12 more days before I go back to the main channel. So it's actually nice to have a backup channel. I want to monetize the backup channel too, just in case. We're not going to keep content on the main channel anymore. It'll all be on Rumble. That's where you'll be able to catch replays. Crucible Limited, will you get callers on? I'd like to hear your takes on some of my thoughts on the debate. Yeah, sure. Here, I'll just put in a link and we can chat for a bit. Whoever wants to come on can come on. I'm just doing kind of a brief after show, finishing up my beer. Some people were asking for an after show, so happy to do it. There's a link if you guys want to call in, tell me what you think. You're welcome to. Most of your debates are pretty entertaining. Yeah, they are. There's a huge portion of entertainment which comes into this, and that doesn't always require the other person to be super smart or a good debater. You know what I mean? I try to meet people at their level if I can. Is the Crucible still going forward with keeping memberships on Rumble? So regardless of where you're a member, it doesn't matter if you're a member on Rumble or either of the YouTube channels, all that membership content is going up on Locals, which is on Rumble, and we'll be emailing out the QR codes to people. That's basically how we'll do that. HTRK said, good show, Andrew. And don't say I don't watch. Of course I do. Okay. All right. I'm guessing that you're Ultros then. Elronder, go ahead, man.
Man, that was some popcorn kino. I mean, I've watched some of the clips. Which show is that with the girl who recently had like Destiny on and Nick and so on? Was that this show
Pearly Things?
Yeah, Pearly Things, exactly. Because what I seen in that show was more interesting as everything that I have seen on there. I think the mental breakdown of those two women, this was just epic. It would get probably hundreds of thousands of clicks on those shows. I mean, they must invite you or your wife. I mean, get an actual threat wife and not just this pretenders. When you look into their biography, right? These are all either whores or don't live the threat style. I mean, she even wrote a book. This is the perfect pitch for a channel like that. One would believe so, right?
Yeah, well, my wife actually, she's been on Pearly Things quite a few times, and I know that they have panels. They have panels coming up, and I think she was saying that Pearl's coming back maybe to Chicago or something like that. So I think they're going to do some live in studio stuff. But I mean, I'm happy to go on and wreck kind of any of these fucking idiots. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
hey, what's up, Josh? Can you hear me? Okay.
Yep. Can you hear me?
Hey, what's up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's on your mind, Josh?
No, I just started at the end. I forget, was his name Kyle? The guy at the end that entered, the young guy.
Oh, Radical Coper.
Radical Coda. Copa, yeah.
Yeah.
Radical fucking Coper.
So what's astonishing is he never makes an argument against your main premise, which is a descriptive claim. He then goes on, and then, like you said, he goes on to the ought claims and all the cultural Marxist stuff. But then what's so amazing is he just makes fundamental assumptions that if it's egalitarian, then it's good. So he's even making his own fundamental axioms. It's like he doesn't even.
Well, they just that's the thing. It's like before I can. This is the thing that's hilarious about this style of debate that cracks me up, and one of the reasons I don't mind engaging in it is because I'm literally just making a descriptive claim that I don't feel like people can intuitively argue against. I don't really think that anybody can argue against the is claim very well, and they kind of just end up agreeing with the is claim. But the amount of resistance that I get from what just is true is absolutely horrifyingly insane. I'm like, how the fuck could you possibly argue against this? You know what I mean?
And it's what's so amazing too, like when Nita said if The Rock, because The Rock is stronger than Joe Biden, therefore he'd be president. That was just kind of embarrassing. But
well, she never got it.
In that really question, right? In that question, I mean, this is such a naive question, and I don't know if it really was naivety. You can never tell with those people, or if it was a bad faith question, because the assumption is that we are living in a fair system, and no media attention, for example, or biased media has any influence on election. Just this alone, right? Like or this money you can spend on advertisement and so on, that doesn't have an influence or something like this. This is just a ridiculous question. I mean, just strength alone. Yes, if you have all the attributes, right, equal attributes, and then man is also strong, physically strong, good looking, and so on, they will vote for the strong, good looking man, of course.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's even more visceral than that, though, because I think,
tight, lady, I see you there.
I think too, like, I think Andrew he articulates it really well as far as the physical strength, but it's so much more visceral that when you talk about warfare and the mental fortitude and the savagery of how a nation is even formed or maintained, there's no way women, for example, could hit the beach of Normandy and see the gruesome bloodshed and go through that. So it's like, it even goes beyond just like, oh, a man is stronger than a woman. It's like the amount of mental toughness it takes to protect the nation. Women they would collapse in 15 minutes.
I mean, one of the women collapsed at the end of the stream. This girl called Grace. I don't know if you noticed this, Andrew, but she left. I take a note here. She left by playing the vulnerable woman plus the age card.
Right.
She said you're just debating a 20-year-old woman. She comes on the panel. She knows this is a blood sport debate. When you have seen all of this, it was a high energy debate. She goes on there, and then she claims, because this is what these feminists do, right? They it is a masculine, at least in the West, masculine value to protect vulnerable children and women, the weak, right?
Right.
And they misuse this masculine attribute and
manipulate it.
And manipulate this. This is what this girl was doing. So she's making a case for strong, independent woman, and then rage quits the panel basically by playing the age and vulnerable woman card, right? This is just amazing.
It was perfect. Now, lady, you just joined. Thanks for joining. Appreciate it. What's on your mind?
Well, I want to say, Andrew, I just found you a couple days ago, and I agree with pretty much everything that you say. My main question earlier was, why do you keep talking to these women who have nothing in their brains?
I don't think it's nothing. I think it's pride. I think it's such an affront to the truth, and it's embarrassing. Like I said, nobody would.
Hang on. Let's let her ask her question real quick.
Yep.
Yeah, go ahead, lady.
It's fine. Well, so for Nina, is that how you pronounce her name?
Yeah, Nina.
Uh,
Just look at the. You see the look she just gave. She was like, pro stuff there, by the way, lady. Anyway, go ahead.
she just. She, you opened it on the first debate that I saw with you and her. You opened it with basically a scathing analysis of people like her. Because she's basically an evolution in NPC, because she literally can't see what's right in front of her.
Yeah.
And I wanted to call in and ask her, because she's the gender abolitionist or whatever, who says like everything's automated now, so women and men can all do the same stuff.
It's fucking ridiculous, isn't it?
I don't.
She's like, yeah.
Why isn't she out like on the oil fields? Like,
Yeah.
they make good money. Why isn't she out doing that? I mean, if all she's doing is pressing a button, because that's apparently how oil comes out of the ground. I don't know what she thinks happens, but why isn't she doing that then? Why is she sitting in front of a desk? Is she an OnlyFans girl? I don't know anything about her.
Yes.
No way. No, she's not. Are you serious, dude?
Yes. I'm not kidding, not joking, not kidding at all. I'm not.
It's actually not. It's actually not even funny. It's just like, dude. It's just. It's fucking sad, man. It's just sad.
But here's the thing: to answer your question, lady. I've debated some of the best feminists in the sphere, male or female. It may seem like, sometimes the highlights get clipped against like some of the dumber ones that are out there. And I kind of understand why, because of sensationalism and this kind of thing. But I'm kind of at the mercy, if I'm invited to a debate rather than hosting it myself, of the other person making the matchup. So I'm just kind of showing up at their behest because it exposes me to a different audience. It's worth doing. But don't think for a second that I would not prefer to have a much more grounded form of argumentation and back and forth and this kind of thing. But it is hard to find in this sphere. Unfortunately, in this sphere, you're going to find a lot more Nina than you're going to find people who have kind of like a grounded, real nuanced position and can confront reality. That's just kind of the way it is, unfortunately.
I would say it is pretty tough to argue for or defend the impossible. And I think a lot of people get their kicks out of this, that they can win a debate where they argue for an impossible thing and still win the debate. I've seen a lot more stupid people debating those issues than the ones even you debated today. So yeah, I mean, there's different reasons why they take those positions, right? It's not just being an NPC. Most of them are probably, and it's also, you have to keep in mind, because the other side, like our side, a lot of normal people who have never thought about this, because this is just it's just like a fish swimming in the water, right? How could he explain those things? So we have to also. It took me a long time to get all those thoughts together, right? But these people basically, what their favor is all the talking points, all the morally, how can I say it, like energized words they use, right, to basically say you are an immoral person. They get from like the earliest ages, right? They are basically trained Marxists without even reading the Marxist literature, because it's everywhere, right? So they have a much easier job, even though they are defending the impossible. This is what I'm saying.
Lady, is that behind you? I don't know. I'm just kind of like looking, but is that a record player?
Oh,
what is that?
Yeah.
That's an old school record player?
Yeah.
That's fucking awesome.
That's a Yamaha P550. I inherited it from my dad. I have
You
like
were trad before you even watched Andrew.
what?
He said you were trad before you even ever watched Andrew.
Oh yeah, yeah.
He's just making a
Haven't
play
even
there.
realized it. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've got about 300 records. They're not right here, but there's a few. I've got an original Star Wars soundtrack that has the poster still with it and everything.
Where'd you find that?
It was my dad's. He never listened to it. It's only been played twice.
Wow.
No shit. I bet that's
some
worth a
real
fortune.
Revulsion
I don't-
against the modern world here.
I actually can't find a way to see how much it's worth because I haven't been able to find one that comes with the poster. My dad never took the poster out.
You
So
should put
it's
it on.
still
You
just
should
in
put
there.
it on eBay for like
Yeah.
like $15,000 or $25,000, but don't actually sell it. Just see what the bidding gets up to.
I can't sell it.
No, don't
It's
sell it.
too
Don't sell
pretty.
it. Just wait until the bidding gets up. Just see what the bidding would have closed at, and then like 10 minutes before, pull the listing, and that'll give you like a pretty good idea of what the value is.
I can't do that.
No?
That would be so bad. People would be mad.
Yeah, I mean, fuck them though, right? You're just like it's just market research, you know. Like you don't owe them anything. Just saying.
Maybe Nina will buy it.
Yeah, maybe Nino will buy it.
Oh gosh.
But yeah, I appreciate the call in, Lady and Elronder. Lady, do you have any social media you want to shout out before you go?
Sure. I mean, you can find me on Twitter. I write books and comics. My name's just at Ali Sanguis right there. I've got a channel and everything.
What kind of books you write?
Fantasy and sci-fi and horror.
You ever read any Terry Goodkind?
I don't think so.
Fantasy author, highly recommended.
What did he write?
He wrote the Sword of Truth series.
No, sorry.
It's really good. Just check it out when you get an opportunity if you like fantasy novels and whatnot. But anyway, I appreciate the call in.
Andrew, can I ask you one question?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's kind of a deep question, but do you think a lot of cultural Marxists, this has just kind of come through the ages of the past 150 years or so, because it's basically about destroying the church's authority. That's what it was always really about. And I'll hang up and listen, but I just want to hear your talk about that.
Ask me one more time. I just want to make sure I get it right.
Do you think cultural Marxism has really just been used as a manipulative tool to destroy the church's authority? And I was wondering if you could go into that.
Because I think that's the first thing. That's the first thing it started doing.
Yeah.
The very first thing it started by doing was eliminating as fast as it possibly could any sort of church autonomy or authority. I mean, the Soviets completely eliminated as much religion as they possibly could. Pol Pot tried to do the same thing. I mean, this is like an ongoing trend with Marxism. So I think that they need religion to be removed, of course. Of course. It's a standing kind of pushback at all times, because you got to remember that the Marxism operates essentially as a cult, and it'll always have a cult leader. And so if you have something transcendent to the cult, in this case, God or a religion, you have a fucking problem, right?
Right. And it creates a massive power vacuum.
Yeah,
you remove the church. It's used cynically.
Yeah, go ahead, lady.
You know what I just realized? I looked up Terry Goodkind. I literally just 2 days ago read Debt of Bones. I just read it.
Not his best work. Start with Wizard's First Rule. It's good.
Well, see you later, Andrew. I'll see you, man.
Later, man. Have a good
I got
day.
like an omnibus of a bunch of fantasy that someone else had put together, and it had that in it. And I was like, I feel like I've heard that name before, and I looked it up, and it was their Debt of Bones. I was like, oh, so I have read it.
Yeah,
I didn't hate it.
Yeah, read the other ones. They're good. Now it's a lot of Ayn Randian style philosophy.
Yeah,
but it's actually
I'm okay with that.
It's actually good. It's the Ayn Rand style philosophy that he introduces as the books progress are very good.
I'm definitely okay with Ayn Rand.
All right, gotcha. Well, thanks, lady. Appreciate the call in. Have yourself a wonderful evening.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah. Of course, you can hop in the Discord and this type of thing. Yeah, go ahead, Elronder.
I have 3 more notes I want to hear your thoughts on. So okay. I've taken some notes. So first of all, she had this circular definition when you asked her what a woman is, right? But
Yeah.
later, when you asked her more, she then described her opinion of what a woman is. Let me read it to you. My question would have been like something like this: did I hear correctly that your definition of a woman really is if a lie is well enough told to deceive people, at least as the first glance, that a man is a woman then? So basically, right? If the lie is good enough told, at least when you're not engaging, when you just look at him and you see a woman there, then it would be a woman, right? So the lie is basically, they are children of the lie, right? Children of the lie. This is what they are. Like,
Well, yeah. So to quote some Jesse Lee Peterson,
exactly,
right?
exactly.
I guess they would be children of the lie. But the thing is I think from Nina's perspective, like you have to try to understand that she's just a regurgitation machine. There's not a lot rattling upstairs.
No original thought.
Even
Yeah.
Corinth, who loathes my perspective on most things, has to go ahead and concede right here on the Crucible that there's not a lot rattling upstairs with Nina, is there, Corinth? Go ahead. Say it. Say
I
it,
haven't
Corinth.
talked enough
Say
to
it,
make any
Corinth. Say it.
judgment
Well,
on
then
that.
fucking mute yourself, because you also are not living in objective reality. If you can't,
I
just
was
make
spurging in the back chat. You or Rachel saw that. I was raging into the void with Elronder there during that whole mess.
all right. Your next note. What's your next note, Elron?
Okay, this was the fun question, right? Maybe I was in the zone when I would ask it. Maybe it's not so funny now, but Nina, when you address Andrew as my guy or my dude, etc., do you address the so-called social construct of of that what you want to abolish, or do you address Andrew by his biological reality as a man?
That's kind of funny.
I would love to see her reaction on that. And did you also notice she did the same thing as Grace did? She basically what's the word, like called or questioned your masculinity. She used patriarchal in their definition, right? A patriarchal language when she called you several times a pussy, right?
Mhm.
That means so they are using our value system, right? To basically, so you cuck down basically for what they want, right? This is every time, and it's also always sexual with these people. Like this Grace girl also said something about the dicks, right? uh, when it was perfect that you brought up the racial question right there. Can you also be transracial,
Right.
trans black or something? And the same goes with the dick joke she made, right? Like you have to compensate for your small dick. When you go with this, a good counter would be like saying, so what you're saying is you don't date Asian men, for example, right? Because they only ever say this thing to a white man, right? They only ever say that to a white man.
Well, I think it's an interesting kind of interesting dynamic is the try to socially shame you under a masculine framework
Mhm.
to do thing X that they want you to do, right? Because from my perspective, it's like you're fucking you have no value either way. You've completely embarrassed yourself. There's not much more that I can say at that point, right? There's not much
Yes.
more that needs to be said. It's like if you embarrass yourself that badly, what do I need to do from there? Why do I need to
Exactly.
capitulate
You
to anything?
you case closed my case for me. So what else is there to say, right?
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was it. That was basically what I wrote down.
Well, I
Yeah.
appreciate that. If you take timestamps throughout the debate too, Elronder, if you get a chance and you want to post those in chat, I'll pin them at the top. Any timestamps that you guys think are pertinent,
Yeah.
I'll pin at the top of the chat. That way people can reference them easily. So
I might make a Joker clip, or I think it was the, wait, let me check. I think it was the 65 mark where you, where you basically said you can't argue with something on this line. You can't argue with a lunatic or something.
Yeah.
right? And then maybe I play the Batman clip, you know, where the butler where he burns like what was it, like this analogy with a diamond that he just throws on the street or something. Yeah, maybe I do this on my channel,
That would be
and I will
funny. Yeah,
send it
you're
to
good.
you
Well,
on
anybody's
Discord or
welcome to use whatever Crucible content they want. We've never been whores about our content. I don't care
Yeah.
if people transformatively do whatever they want with it. They can even re-upload things to their channel as long as they give it credit over the Crucible. I don't care. I've never cared about that. So I appreciate the call, Ren Elronder. Have
Cool,
yourself a
cool.
good night, man.
You too.
All right, Corinth, what's on your fucking mind, man?
Hey, bestie, it's a long time no see. I wanted to go on you for what you said during Nia's definition, but holy shit, that conversation with Grace was a fucking mess. How the fuck did you deal with that one, dude?
Well, I started by looking around and making sure I had a blunt object. If I needed to self-terminate quickly, I was going to grab it. Right? I was going to grab it, just take care of the fucking problem right then and there, right?
Oh my God. I was literally hitting my head against my desk at a certain point when she was fucking just screaming. Just the is ought cap was fucking unreal.
Well, they don't understand the difference. You understand that? They don't get the distinction between what's being said. Like, I don't even think what I'm saying as an is even controversial, Corinth. I don't even think it's that controversial. I think that most people, they think about it, go, yeah, it's probably true. It doesn't mean that you can draw like hefty conclusions from that even. But why would you fight with it? It seems like a truism, right?
Yeah, the contentious part's like the second part of the claim too, not even the first one. It's the you can't have like equality under that claim. That's the
Right.
part that they need to actually fight under, but it's just fucking unreal.
But they don't, Corinth. Your side, Corinth. These are
Um,
your people out representing your leftist side.
I'll fix them, okay? I'll fix them.
Are
And
you gonna
Grace is
fix
not my
Nina?
people.
Are you
Grace
gonna
is closer
fix
to your
Nina?
people.
Are you gonna fix me? Okay, well, look, I can't fix these people. Okay, I can't
Yeah.
fix the tradcasts. They're fucking lunatics. But the thing is like, are you gonna fix Nina for us? How are you gonna fix Nina for us, Corinth?
I'll try my best, okay? I will convince her to have like somewhat reasonable defenses of those positions.
The lady in chat. We'll just call her Lady Crucible for now. Lady Crucible says negative, right? You're not going to be able to fix her, Corinth.
I'll do my best, okay? You're gonna do your best to fix the right-wing debaters. We'll do our best to fix the left-wing debaters, okay?
Fair enough. Fair
But
enough. Adam,
there's one thing
go ahead.
Sorry, there's one really quick thing I want to.
Take
So
your
when
time,
you're
man.
attacking Nia's idea of woman, you were pushing on there being no information conveyed in her definition.
Yeah,
But I feel like there's like a really easy way to like push back on that of like there's going to be intuitive and not intuitive but inductive information from that. It's like if someone says they're a woman, you're going to be able to have like certain social notes that they're going to be very likely to want to be called, and that's going to inform social interactions with them, or at least how they'd want to have their social interactions with them.
I don't disagree.
I guess that would be like the information that definition would be, so it wouldn't be like conveying direct information.
I would just say that would include like a vagina. That's all I'm saying, Corinth.
Yeah.
I think that would include in most
Like,
men's mind globally
your definition.
the vagina.
Yeah, but there's like the way her definition still has that a certain level of that.
Well, not
Right.
really, because her definition is just pointing at itself as the information for itself. So I think that you and I could maybe intuit something about what she means, but I don't think her definition is really giving us any of that information.
Yeah, it's definitely. I feel like the line you can push back on a lot easier, and that was like the vicious infinite regress of it, rather than
It is an
Yeah.
infinite regress for sure.
Yeah, there's
Right.
like better ways to word it to like get around that, but I feel like that's the line that's a lot easier to push down because there is that like information part that if Nina was actually thinking about it hard enough, she would have pushed back on.
Big old boomer belly. He's bored. He's saying zzz for an after show. Something I didn't have tons of content ready for. Not a problem you have to worry about. Mods, go ahead, time him out. We don't want him bored. We don't want him bored during the after show. That would be bad for big old boomer belly. So you can enjoy your 5 minutes in timeout. If you want to come back and make the Z's again, you could just not be a part of the program. I'm fine with that too. Anyway, Corinth, I appreciate it. Do you have anything else you wanted to add, man?
Can you give me like a longer call-in next time Alex is on the Crucible and I'll go on him? Because he was letting Grace go on for hours, man.
Well, he was looking for content.
That was insane. Also,
That
I
was
promise,
content.
last thing.
That was absolutely
Last thing.
content.
The Tradcath dad has a more degenerate look than I do. Okay, that's
Yes.
really bad.
That is true. That is true. Okay, he looks like a pile of fucking shit. That's true.
Okay.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not
Good
gonna
luck,
lie
Adam.
about that, Corinth. Anyway, appreciate the call in, man.
Have a good night.
And next time I have Alex on, I'll definitely give you some extra time. Have a good night. Adam, what's on your mind?
Well, I will say I was actually pleasantly surprised by Radical Coder, because he actually did a response to your typical women's rights argument that I was thinking would be the correct one. Saying, what's the point of this argument? Because honestly, like the first few times I heard you run it, I was like, okay, I can see that you're making Nina go insane, but beyond that,
There's actually no point of the argument beyond that. So the whole point is, well, it's not even an argument. It's really just a descriptive claim of what's real. So I need to start with people before I actually get into my arguments, which I have great arguments. But don't we have to start from a position of agreement on what's reality before I can even argue anything?
Oh, of course.
Yeah. So, I mean, if we can't even get there, then what's the point of moving on to the argument? If you can't actually accept what's real first, what can I do with you?
And the other thing, which I also thought was quite surprising, isn't Radical Coder a socialist, or at least
big time?
It seemed as if he was invoking the iron law of oligarchy, which is all human organizations are inherently oligarchical, when he was saying that it's always a minority of men who oppress the majority of men, which is like, okay, well, I wasn't expecting that concession from a
well, and that also doesn't even hurt my descriptive is, right?
Oh, yeah.
It actually ratifies it. It's just like, oh, you're right. So you're always asking men for rights, whether you're men or you're women. It's like no matter what, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how to get away from that. Like I've tried. I've thought about it from every angle I think it can be thought about. I can't figure out a way how you can actually have true egalitarianism though if you have to beg for your rights from a specific group. How's that a real right?
Well, I actually have been like argument gaming this in my head. I mean, the only way that I could see this even be the only way I could see somebody getting around this truth claim, I think, would be a partial concession, basically saying that on one hand, it's always a minority of men who end up ruling. However, the minority themselves can't actually enforce their rule, and if the question is enforcement, then it comes down to men. Right. Given that men themselves are not necessarily the ones making the decisions, then that changes the enforcement mechanism into its own separate thing that exists independently of what is being enforced, right?
Yeah, but you'd have to demonstrate an example of that.
Well, I think practically all governments are examples of this, and I'm not even so. I believe that people are not stupid, but they're specialized, and that most people don't understand politics or theory at all. So people people who are born in any given society are going to just default to whatever the basic belief system is.
That's true too.
So my point is, if somebody's really good at fighting, if you have a man who's really good at the enforcement, then their own views are just going to be whatever the society's views are, which changes the enforcer, meaning the man, from like somebody who has like a large level of agency to somebody who just enforces.
Yeah, I understand that. So I think I can grapple with this, right? But I still have an issue, which is how does that actually change from who the enforcement arm is?
Well, so the way that this would go would just be saying women are capable of controlling the enforcers, and I don't think that that's a controversial statement. I can't hear you. You're muted. I'm sorry. Am I going nuts?
No, you're not going nuts. I'm
All right,
sorry.
all
I was talking to someone else. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, men could or be controlled by women in a very real sense, or the enforcing men could be controlled by politically knowledgeable women.
Yeah, so I could agree that that's true, but they themselves would not be enforcing then. They would still be relying on alternative enforcement, right?
Yeah,
So
but
the enforcement inevitably is still going to be men. So if they're not able to control those men, then the enforcement is still going to be men. Like no matter what, it's like it's an infinite loop, right?
I agree with that, but it's I'm trying to. At that point, it seems like saying the person who is the people with the most power are just the people who have control over like the weapon supply, for example. And it's the ability to control the weapon supply. So at that point, I think while it is true that
What if the mechanism for controlling the weapon supply, though, has a specialized requirement that only a specific group can actually control the weapon supply? They can only be manipulated as to where to use the weapons, but they're the only ones who can actually use them. What about that as part of that scenario?
well then that would probably that would change it quite a bit.
Then I think that we're talking that it's still the same thing applied. It's like you can still use manipulation to kind of push enforcement of where you want men to push enforcement, but that ultimately the decision is going to reside with the people who control the weapons. In this case would be literally physical strength. And that by itself seems to be enough to tip the scales in a massive way, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think I understand what you're saying. I'm not sure that it applies, but think about it some more and let's talk about it again down the road.
Well, that's literally just the best argument I can come up with against the truth.
Yeah, right. No, I understand. Did you have anything else you wanted to dive into?
No, not really. I'm sure I'll think of something in about 10 minutes after I leave. So
yeah, that's the way it always works. I appreciate it, man. Have a good one. Oh, hang on. Sorry. I got you still. Go ahead.
One other thing. I'm surprised that nobody in the chat has figured out what my profile picture is from. And that is all. I'm just going to leave it on that. I'm not telling you where it's from. All right. Bye.
I mean, now I kind of want to know, but fine. Now I'll do the Frodo Baggins. You can keep your secrets, right? You can keep your secrets. But anyway, off to chat before I wrap up the after stream. Been going for almost an hour. Just wanted to kind of chat and vet any questions because I was on somebody else's stream. So what's on your guys' mind? I'll put the link in one more time if we have any callers who want to call in before I kind of wrap this up for the night. Tomorrow night, there'll be an Inquisition episode. Those will be taking place of the Trash Talk Extravaganza. The Trash Talk Extravaganza will only be once a month, and it'll be an 8 to 10 hour show. So you'll still like the Inquisition, right? It's basically going to be a Trash Talk Extravaganza, what you're used to, but it'll be hyper focusing on just one lunatic instead of multiple lunatics. So yeah, I'm sure that'll be good. This one's on Teal Swan. So that'll be a lot of fun. Dumb choice for your avatar. Everyone just assumes you're some dumb Zoomer. That's kind of funny. Yes, the Inquisition must continue. The Inquisitors must continue. Bring back the church ASAP. Yeah, we need that. I want to argue with you on the claim thing, but it would take longer than I want for now. Yeah, I think that's fine. I think that's fair. Neuro Jack, you've been waiting. Go ahead, man.
Hey, how are you?
Good, man. What's on your mind?
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I couldn't really listen to the conversation because people like Nina and Grace just
frost your cookies, dude.
Well, do
they frost your cupcakes, bro?
they make me feel like I have a mental issue because, you know, just like wasting your breath trying to talk with someone who has no capability to want to even try to understand what you're saying. So it's like it hurts your soul, you know. It's not even your brain. It's like it's just like I think that's their tactic actually, is like, you know, just wear you down to the point where you just give up and you're like, okay, forget it. I'm a nihilist now, you know.
No surrender, Neurojack. No surrender. Not one step back, right? The Inquisition will not take one step back ever. We can't afford it.
No, along the lines of the previous caller, he brought up an idea that I've heard. You know, whenever you look into history, Alex Jones used to talk about something, and it's always stuck in my mind. Where he said, if you look at the British model of controlling people, for example, or the Romans, they would always go after the women first, because essentially, if you control the means of reproduction, you can control the means of production, which is men, right? So, I don't know if that holds water, but it definitely seems like looking at what's going on, it definitely seems as if, you know, the feminism is kind of like the cornerstone of everything that they're doing, right? Like they have to get in women's mind and get in their head and mess with that, and everything that comes after that is just kind of a consequence of that first.
It's like arguing with a wall that insults you. That's kind of funny. Well, yeah, look, the thing is like, you know, these people and a lot of these OnlyFans girls and a lot of these people in the Twitch political sphere, they've never really actually had any of their ideas challenged. And so when that happens, because it's a very upsetting perspective from them, right? Like we're supposed to be these unrealistic, lunatic, frothing at the mouth conservative nutcases who don't know, you know, we're just a bunch of like fascists who one day decided that due to our evil natures, we were just going to start oppressing minorities and women, right? And eating their fucking souls. That's what their mindset is. And so what ends up happening is when they actually have to engage with somebody who's rational, reasonable, and says, no, actually, I came to this worldview through contemplation, through internal critique, and through introspection. And I'd like to tell you that I think that your worldview is wrong and it's due to A, B, C, and D. You got to understand how painful that kind of cognitive dissonance is for a person like this. Imagine going through your whole life never being challenged, ever, and especially not contentiously. Do you think that men, as a general rule, will look at Nina after destroying their arguments and say, look, you're just stupid. You're not smart enough. You're not even equipped to lick my boots. What made you think that you could ever argue with somebody like me about anything ever? That's not happened to her. And yes, it's painful, right? But I think it's painful in the right way, because maybe she'll back up and go, maybe he's right, right? Maybe the guy's right. But it turns out we're not lunatics. We're not people who are devious, introverted incel lunatics. We're actually happily married, have well-adjusted families and mortgages, right? Go out of our way to try to say, look, the world has become a mad place, but there's still sane people in it. And we think that you need to actually answer to us. We don't need to fucking answer to you.
Well, that's the right attitude to have, and you know, hopefully they'll eventually get it through their thick skulls that it's in their best interest to start thinking that way, because you know, like what I said in the chat earlier is I don't think these people realize what side they're playing on and who they're playing for, and I think if they start to realize that they're playing for their enemies, like you said, like, you know, they're just a tool being used for as a disposable unit in a machine. Once their utility is gone,
they're gone.
Started.
Yeah, they're gone. And remember that the only critique I can ever seem to get out of Alex PWF's entire community, out of the great debaters that he's put up against me thus far, the ultimate critique any of them can come up with is that I smoke cigarettes. The ultimate critique, not an attack on the way that I think, not an attack on any of my ideas, not an attack on my worldview. The attack ultimately just comes down to, yeah, bro, but you smoke though, bro. But you smoke though, bro. Like, how can you even logic if you smoke, bro? It's like, you know what I mean? I'm just like, is this fucking real? Is this reality? Is this the world that we live in? And the answer is unequivocally and unfortunately, yes. Yes, it is. But it's time to press, right? We got to press back. We can't be these kind of passive bitches who just assume that just because you're kind of a brainless thought that you don't have outreach to hundreds, if not thousands of people. And of course you need to be pushed back on, and your worldview and ideology is garbage and trash and should be wrecked at every turn by people who make you look absolutely absurd and retarded. Even if you're just utilizing Operation Let Them Speak, like Operation just, okay, I said what I said, and I'm going to kick back and just let you meamble and ramble and look as fucking retarded as possible, right? It's like, so I think all of that's necessary, and it's good. Corinth, as much as I have contention with him, right? He's a staunch progressive, a trans advocate, the whole 9 yards. He understands the value in that too for his own side. And I think that the more sane people we get on both sides, at some point, maybe we can have discourse that matters. But right now, right, the discourse is just trying to get to what's true. What's even true, right? We're not even at a place where we can discuss what is. And these people are trying to make ought claims. They're like, well, here's how society should be run. And you're like, but we don't even agree on how society operates now.
We're
how
just,
are you going to...
We're just trying to show that they're going to run it off a cliff at the rate they're going.
Yeah, it's just going to run the whole well, and the thing is, for them, nuking the whole thing is progress, right? It's like, how the fuck you come up with this shit? And it's because the worldview paradigms are fucked up so bad because they don't have anything to push towards. They don't have families. They don't have any of this stuff, right? So everything comes from this kind of internalized set of I fucking want it, right? Well, here's what I want. And so society should, go out of its way to give me what I want. I want fairness, and I want egalitarianism, and I want all the things that nature would rape me for. Nature would literally destroy you. Go to nature and say you want to be equal, right? And we should watch as Mother Nature laughs in your face, spits in your eye, just wrecks everything that you cared about. Well, ravages of time, the ravages of decay, the ravages of the literal wolves at the door. And it's like, but we're equal. Just get the fuck out of here, dude. Right? Just get the fuck away from me with this. So anyway, that's my rant to you, Neurojack. Did you have anything you wanted to shout out before you go?
No, I just commend you for what you're doing, and not one step back, and
not one fucking step back.
And I just want to say to all the leftists that think they're going to get a good deal when they put themselves on the altar of Mother Nature, you'll find out.
Yeah, exactly. You will find out. And the thing is that men have known this for a long time, which is why we mutually cooperate, because we know that nature is a motherfucker and does not give a shit about our whims. It doesn't care about our feelings. It doesn't care about what we want. It doesn't give a fuck about any of that. You know what I mean? We literally have to operate within the framework of some type of collective function with each other just to survive. And we've just kind of forgotten that that's true. And we kind of operate off this bizarre pendulum of like, well, we've conquered nature. It's like, no, the fuck you haven't. no, you haven't. So anyway, appreciate the call in very much, Jack. Have yourself a wonderful night.
You too.
Anyway, if you have anybody else who wants to call in, chat a bit about the debate before I wrap things up. We're almost an hour in. I'm going to put the link in one more time. And I do appreciate the call-ins. It's just kind of like a minor wrap-up stream. So I did want to take a minute, though, because I wasn't on the Crucible itself. On the main channel, it's a lot easier for me. And, often on the main channel, we'll have 400, 500, 600 live viewers. And it's easier for me to do an after show or something like this, but I'm not going to use the main channel here for a bit. If you guys don't know where the main channel is, if you're new to the Crucible Limited, the main channel is just called the Crucible. You can subscribe over there too. We will be going back to utilizing that channel in like 14 days or something. I just wanted to make sure that one of the strikes fell off. So yes, exactly. The Inquisition lives and the Inquisition will continue. So great chat, a lot of comments that are bringing something to the table. Yeah, a lot of good people. I'm glad that we can bring value to you guys. I mean, it's part of the way that I make my livings by trying to bring as much value as I can to you guys. The Crucible operates literally as the only anti-lunatic platform on the internet. We literally operate off of the framework of exposing and destroying lunatics, and we're never going to stop being this way. The debates are always about destroying lunatics on the internet. Sometimes our side loses in debates. In fact, many times they lose in debates. That's okay too, because you can still draw the lunacy out even with that. But we are going to continue with the anti-lunacy campaign. That's not going to stop. Is YouTube holding up the monetization of this channel? Yes. It's not because of like anything nefarious. It just takes a while to apply for the AdSense bullshit. So will you crowdfund an asylum? Unfortunately, I don't think there's enough people on the planet to build a big enough asylum for the amount of people that need to go into it. To be honest with you, there's just so like, it's such a prevalent problem. I'm surprised. I'm just like, at some points, I always look around. I'm like, where the fuck are the normal people? Like, where's the just like regular person? You know what I mean? Where's the regular fucking person? Just like the regular Joe, where you're just like, hi, Fred, how you doing? Hi, Andrew. How's the wife and kids? Like, where the fuck are they? They just don't even fucking exist anywhere in the internet. It's just like you take regular people, though, and you put them up and you're like, what a breath of fresh air. What a breath of fresh air. There are actually good, normal people all over the place. It's just that we've been so inundated, so beat over the head, so just kind of maniacally forced into this bizarre concession that like what is normal is abnormal. It's not true. It's fucking not true at all. It's bullshit. Total bullshit. By the way, the dono chat link is up at the top. I'm only going to keep the stream running for a couple more minutes. If you guys want to donate to the stream, you're welcome to. No big deal either way. Just an after show. The extravaganza tomorrow, in this case, not an extravaganza. It'll be the very first episode of the Inquisition. $5 comes in from Gordzilla, says, you tell people facts, but instead they'll want to argue about the implication. Oh, yeah, I read that. Thank you for that, Gordzilla. $5 comes in from Harrison, says, not one step back. Amen. Yeah, not one step. Not one. Anonymous sends in $7, says, your favorite type of super chat. That is, by the way, my favorite type of super chat, when you just don't even say anything. You don't really need to, right? You don't really need to. I know what you mean when you don't put anything. When you don't put anything up there. I do have a P.O. box, Are We Not Men? You can find that listed on my wife's channel, also listed over on the main channel. If you guys want to send anything over to me that way, a lot of people do send me mail. They send all kinds of different stuff. My friend Wicked Wally, in fact, who I met through the Crucible, he's our resident dad joke maker. He sent me a couple of really awesome Wasp t-shirts, but I feel like value for value, I should send him something back. So I'm going to send him and his son some Crucible tees. But he was at a concert and he like DM'd me and said, hey man, you want me some Wasp t-shirts? And I'm like, fuck yeah, that sounds awesome. So he sent them to me and then my wife stole them immediately. She fucking stole them right away, because for women, it's a nightgown, right? So for women, a man's t-shirt is a nightgown. So she instantly stole my t-shirts. But I do happen to appreciate how women look, how they look in the t-shirt nightgown. I actually like this. So I don't think it's a waste. I don't think it's a waste. Just saying. The non-comment super chat is saying more than the circular definition of the rainbow lunatics of what a woman is indeed. Yeah, look, we can infer everything that you mean. From any super chat that you send in that has no description, we understand what you're saying. You're saying bring some normalcy back. Come on, Wilson. Do you guys ever talk about men's rights? Yeah, we often do. But we do it from a Christian paradigm. And I think that's an important distinction, right? You don't have to be a Christian to be a person who supports the Crucible. In fact, we have a lot of non-Christians who do. It's just that my worldview primarily comes from a Christian foundation. So when we're talking about men's rights, we're talking about the creation of man in the image of God. That's why I'm open to the thought process that there are God-given rights. It's just that when people kind of state what they think are God-given rights, I think that they're probably not correct about them. So thanks, Andrew and Rachel, for knowing the creepy weirdo Thorpes. Oh, yeah. I nobody gets under the Thorpe skin more than me, and I know how to do it perfectly. I know how to send Ben into a spiral, Grace into a spiral, right? I do it perfectly every time. They lose their fucking minds, and I think it's hilarious. There's a cult in my town that is really anti-men, though, and they use Bible verses. Yes. And one of the ways that you can learn to combat that is by engaging with this community, because there's oftentimes feminists will hijack biblical foundational values, real biblical foundational values, and try to weaponize them against men, which is fucking bullshit. You know, one of the biggest and creepiest things that's come out of the 20th and 21st century is this bizarre idea that women hate men or that men hate women. This bizarre fucking idea that men and women just loathe each other. You know, it's like, it's not true. I think women rather like men. I think they like them fine. They think they're great, in fact. And I think that a lot of women actually show men quite a bit of respect. And the more normal women you talk to, the more you find out that they're not a bunch of fem-Nazi fucking, you know, gritting their teeth, foaming at the mouth lunatics. But rather they're just kind of like, yeah, I appreciate that men, you know, create the structures of society. And I'm actually okay with that. You'd be surprised how many normal women have that take and just how much they're completely drowned out. Just totally drown out and pushed down and kicked to the fucking side by these foaming at the mouth feminist lunatics who want to make this archetype out to be, you know, sex wars. It's men against the women. It's the this against the that. And it's like, I don't think it's like that at all. Not even close. But I think that their foundation for all of this starts with this kind of rusted chain, this weak link, which starts by rejecting this kind of foundational truism, which is that, look, men are pretty benevolent. They're not malevolent and they're not evil. They're so benevolent, in fact, that even though they could, if they wanted to, collectively enslave all women, they don't. Not only do they not do that, but they do everything they can to make the lives of women better. And yet, if the reverse happened, I have a feeling that women would not be nearly as benevolent to men if the situation was changed, if they had their current state of mind. That's just what I think. But what do I know? After all, I smoke, right? What kind of fucking lunatic? What kind of Looney Tune would sit and tell you things that are true if they smoke? I mean, that's just like, throw him to the fucking wolves. He smokes. Crazy. Fucking crazy. So anyway, this debate will be up on Rumble. Unfortunately, I couldn't keep it on the YouTube channel because there was election talk. Again, that's part of the tactic. I'm certain that was part of the tactic because Nina said that she knew that election talk on YouTube was a no-no, but then demanded we talk about it anyway. So, you know, that just kind of is what it is. But it will be up on Rumble. I hope you guys enjoyed it very much. From all of us here at the Crucible to all of you out there in Crucible land, until tomorrow night, have a wonderful night. Wait, somebody asked about the painting. Oh, so that's just you guys out there haven't ended the stream yet. That's a painting of Bruce Campbell in his finest role, in my opinion, which is playing Ashley from the Evil Dead series, right? And I love that series. I've always loved that series, and I've communicated quite a bit with Bruce Campbell back and forth in emails and various other things. And he actually gave me a great book. It was one of the last things my brother gave me before he passed away. He was at a convention with Bruce Campbell where he happened to be there, and Bruce Campbell signed his autobiography for me. And so my brother gave me that as a gift. So I've always been like a big fanboy for Bruce Campbell anyway. And my wife knew that. And so for my birthday one year, she painted me the iconic Ash with the chainsaw, right? The iconic Ash with the chainsaw. I believe that one, this particular pick was from Army of Darkness, which was the what she used as kind of the incentive to incept making the hand painting. So I always really appreciated. It's one of my favorite things that I own on planet Earth is this painting. So that's why it's there. So anyway, again, from all of us at the Crucible, all of you out there in Crucible land, have a wonderful night.